Brand new and all live. Hello from Up Front with Frank Rothstein here on skiescrescentradio.com. Broadcasting to you, many places. Live on YouTube, Skies Crescent Radio, or Up Front with my name on it. Live on Facebook, the same places. Also, we're going to be seen later on iHeart, all over the place. As I said, skiescrescentradio.com, where the home of all of us go. Sitting with me as always in her, well, again, back in space she goes with her background of the Earth. I think it's Earth, unless her ship has taken her other places, with all her musical equipment, practicing in case our astronauts stranded in the space station alone. Jade Zabrik has turned her studio into a zero gravity unit. She's floating on the other side of this camera. She's practicing to keep me company and recording from deep and out of space. Everyone say hello to Jade Zabrik. And of course, she'll be bringing her band, the Train Walkers, with her. And that's what's going on. You can always write to us at upfrontfrank@gmail.com. Upfrontfrank@gmail.com. You can always write to us at skiescrescentradio@gmail.com. Or if you want to ride with Jade to the space shuttle, into the station, just send her at jadezabrik@gmail.com. Music at G. Just keep on typing her name, you'll find her somewhere. And that's a lot of .coms, I have to admit. I'm starting to trip over my own .coms. Wow, I should have patented that phrase a long time ago. Well, it's been an interesting week. Everyone, the news is still the same. They're still battling over in Eastern Europe. Russia's still bombing Ukraine, and Ukraine's not backing down. One of my favorite video clips all week came out from earlier in the week, was the Ukraine military band, at least parts of them, standing in front of the sandbags with their horns, their tuba, their drum, trombone, and playing "Don't Worry, Be Happy" for the town, which I thought was really cool. You're not going to defeat people when there's a tank right around the corner while they're playing "Don't Worry, Be Happy." You can get the land, but you're not beating the people. So yeah, it's interesting. Personally, I think, well, I don't know. I really don't know what's going to finally happen out there. I mean, it's not like Russia could really just, if they had planned to really just march in and wipe everybody out, be done with it. That came and went. So whatever their plan is, I don't know what plan A or plan B is, but I think they're down to plan G. So anyway, so that's what's going on. I keep watching the news. I don't have to go into all of that because you watch it all day and night anyway on CNN, Fox, and NBC and all that. So I just pick up the crumbs on the stories on the outside, because this show is still based on the ridiculousness, and find the laughter in even the worst situations when you can. Even ridiculous isn't always a happy story, but ridiculous and stupid is ridiculous and stupid. And I can find plenty of it. Well, I don't, the country that told the whole world, if you get involved, there will be serious consequences. Don't get involved in our business, or there will be consequences for everybody, except now Russia's asking China to help with military and financial aid. Well, I don't know if China's going to do that, because they've already refused to supply aircraft parts after all the sanctions. China's not stupid. They're just China. They may be supportive of Russia. They may be somewhat partners in certain things with Russia, but they're not packing up the military and sending them into Ukraine. I doubt that very highly. That would, everyone's whining, this is the beginning of World War III. Well, I don't know yet, but if China goes in, that would constitute a good little in that direction. So we'll see what happens with that. But as this story was March 10th, it says, Russia says China refuses to supply aircraft parts after sanctions. That came out of U.S. News. Well, it's a very short story. Of course, it came out of Reuters to begin with, but pretty much you got the idea of it. They're not going to do it, which I think that's great. Don't do it. But then again, as I said, Russia has requested military and economic assistance from China. Well, China wants to cut him a check, I guess, but I can't imagine that Russia would need financial assistance or military assistance, except they've all screwed up. Maybe the military leader, because they seem to be screwing up left and right. They're lobbing missiles, but somehow they just can't get the troops to make it down the road. They keep on getting stuck on the roads. They run out of gas. They run out of food. I mean, you got to know the distance of here to there. Here's Russia. We're going over the Ukraine. You sort of have to know what you're going to need, except they ran out of gas and food last week. So that was early on. Well, I'm not sure if they cleared the road yet, but someone should lose their job. That's what else is going on when I'm talking about this stuff. Oh, by the way, we all know now that McDonald's has finally closed their over 800 stores, close to like 850 stores in Russia since all this started. What was I reading about? I love this. Big Macs are selling for like $36 each, and a McDonald's paper bag goes for more than 300. They're now collector's items. Well, I don't know what's really in a Big Mac, but if it's anything like a Twinkie, the thing will last on your shelf for 30 years. Keep it, and may become worth something, like a stamp or a good bottle of wine. Yeah, that's what's going on. It says here, Russians are attempting to sell their items online at highly inflated rates. They found a lot of listings on Avito, A-V-I-T-O, a Russian classified ads website. They're selling Big Macs, McMuffins. Oh man, I feel sorry for the people, not the leaders, not the people making the decisions. Certainly not the military, who are doing whatever they have to do, whatever they're told to do. The people who really like to go for a McDonald's Big Mac or a McMuffin, and now are looking for paper bags to sell for $300. Oh boy, this is it's insane. What else? Let's see. Another seller recently posted McDonald's breakfast, including McMuffins, potato pancakes, the hash brown patty, and sauces for around $18. Let's see. What is this? Let me see what this says here. It says nothing appears to be off limits, with some people even attempting to sell McDonald's packages. At the time of the writing of this story, one Visto listing showed a paper bag being advertised for the equivalent of $373. It doesn't say if the bag has any products in it. Well, give them a couple of ketchup packets, for God's sake. I mean, really, look what they're shelling out for a bag. At least throw in a napkin and leftover straw wrapper and whatever else, the empty container for the French fries. Leave them one fry, because whenever you throw away a paper bag, if you're not careful, there's always one or two fries that make it to the bottom of the bag. So give them your typical. For anyone buying this, expect to get the usual McDonald's garbage bag after the meal is eaten for $373. And okay, that works for me. That you buy it. I'm not buying it. What is this? A McDonald's signature glass for about $74. Well, I could see that being more of a collector's item. A glass doesn't stink like the bottom of a McDonald's garbage bag, paper bag. Look at this. This is just that people will buy anything. They really will. They really. I always get a kick out of that. What will people buy next? But I think no one's going to be suffering more than this guy that I'm reading about. Guy from Russia who looks to be well over 400 pounds, who's so upset about McDonald's closing that he chained himself to the front door of one of the branches. Let's see, Luka Safronov. He was film staging his protest hours before the burger giant was set to temporarily close its 850 restaurants. That's according to the Mirror. Well, now, this is a big boy. Look at him. So I mean, I'm big. He's big and a half. I mean, and he's sitting there. He actually chained himself to a front door handle. When you have those big metal rods and those big tall doors of a big building. Yeah, they eventually cut him loose and dragged him away. I don't know if they could drag him, but okay, they dragged him away. Yes, I could make fat jokes. I'm fat. Yeah, He made his point. I don't know that anyone was listening other than me. I don't know anyone's going to do anything about it because the odds are he'll be healthier for this move. But he made all the papers. He did. He made all the papers. Chained himself for a Big Mac. Mm, 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 mm. You know, I mean, I laugh about a lot of this stuff. You know, I mean, you know, China is rejecting parts, but they really won't go into helping out Russia too much as far as sending military aid and causing a war. What's the other story I'm reading from March 11th? That the Chinese interest in Ukrainian mail order brides has doubled since the war started. Yeah, they are flooding, they say they are flooding Ukrainian restaurant. Yeah, the Chinese men with Eastern European women have seen a spike in interest in Ukrainian brides since the war began. The matchmaking service Milishka reported that the interest in Ukraine women jumped from 5 to nearly 10 inquiries a day. You got the idea. Ukraine women are quite beautiful. The Chinese men with a lot of money, I guess, are looking to buy themselves a bride. How much? The site offers men different packages ranging between 6,700 to 80,000 Chinese yen, or 1,060 to $12,700 American, to be set up with a dating coach and women from Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus. You got the idea. Well, okay, so we'll see how that works out. You know, you don't want to ruin a good thing in one front just for another bad thing in another front. Oh man, this is just really a sick world. I always go with that. It's a sick world. What's over here on this page? One of my favorite stories about this came out. This is really from March 1st. And I didn't notice it for a while. I don't know how. I really didn't see it on the news around here. I got this from Vice.com. I've seen it in other sites. But it says the Ukraine's neo-Nazi battalion is greasing their bullets in pig fat for Russia's Muslim soldiers. You got it? The thing about Russia is they're going for denazification of Ukraine. Well, the neo-Nazi battalion, who is defending their country, that has a Jewish president, is defending against the Muslims of Russia because it's still their home. They're defending their country, and because they're coming, they're dipping their bullets in pig fat so the Muslim soldiers cannot go to heaven. That's what they're doing. I don't know why. I'm not for neo-Nazis at all, obviously, but some of this stuff, I wouldn't even think to write it. I find it to be very interesting. That's just what they're doing. They have their bullets. They're going through their process. They're neatly dipping it in pig fat because you can't damage the gun. So you have to be careful with what you're doing. Just takes a little bit. Doesn't take a lot. So yeah, there you go. There you go. I like that. I like that. The Nazis are defending the Jew. Go team against the Muslims over there. Oh man, I'm a sick guy. I find humor in this stuff. There's nothing humorous about it, though. I gotta tell you. I find nothing humorous about anything that goes on in any of this stuff, because how could you? What could there possibly be unless you pick and choose your spots to laugh, which is tough enough. Like I say, I like the idea of the band playing "Don't Worry, Be Happy" in front of sandbags. I like the idea. I'm laughing about bullets and pig fat, but look what I'm laughing at: Nazis. Well, you're supposed to laugh at Nazis, but look what I'm laughing at. And it's not just here where people are sick. All around the world, stuff is going on. Every time I turn around, I'm reading one story or another. I don't know what you're reading, but I'm reading one story or another. Where did I put the other story? Saudi Arabia, where they executed 81 people for one crime or another. Here it is. Where did I put it? Here it is. Saudi Arabia kills 81 in its largest mass execution ever recorded. And these are people who are convicted from a range of crime that says including murder belonging to militant groups like Al Qaeda or backing Yemen's Houthi rebels. Um, it doesn't say exactly when this happened or how it was done, except I know one person was dismembered. But yeah, and this brings me to a point, again, I've gone over this quite a few times over the years, I believe last week as well. We all know that in Russia, as of what was it, week and a half ago, they passed the quick law that you're not allowed to speak out against their war efforts, against the government, against Putin. You're just not allowed to. You can get 15 years in prison. I'm looking at a country here, I'm reading about a country who just killed 81 people. I don't know if they were on death row. It doesn't go too far into it, or simply if they were just cleaning the prison house of people that they would consider. It just doesn't say, but 81 people were killed. That's a lot. That really is a lot. Keep in mind that you're in America. When I see these videos all over YouTube, all over TikTok, the First Amendment auditors who keep referring to our police as tyrants because they ask for license and registration when they're stopped for a speeding ticket, some sort of a traffic infraction. You're tyrants. Please don't film near our crime scene. Back up 10 feet. No tyrant. You're a tyrant. You're a tyrant. You're not defending it. All that kind of crap. Remember where you're doing it. Just remember what country you're in and where you are doing it that has rights for people to speak freely and protest and all that other stuff. I'm reading to you about a country that's killed 81 people. Yes, they were criminals, but in this country, people in jail, even if they're on death row, get appeal after appeal after appeal after appeal. And it takes a long time to get it done then. This place here just cleaned house, I guess, and they got rid of everybody at once. Well over 5,000 people in Russia have been arrested for protesting. I don't know what happened to them. I haven't heard about who's been released and who hasn't. But just think about that. Just think about that. Here, if you get arrested, you're probably released in a couple of hours, maybe the next morning, just to bring clear traffic, if nothing else. There, you can get 15 years if you say you are not for the war, which is why in Russia, all the independent news stations have been shut down and everyone had to go home. So you have the Russia national networks. Now, my social media apps, when I talk to people from Russia, I'm listening to conversations. They're in Ukraine, but they still have relatives in Russia who actually don't know what's going on. They think everything's fine. They just think it's fine. They're going after Nazis. They think it's fine. They only see the Russian propaganda news. They don't see the world news. They can't click on the CNN or any other outlet that you'd like to see. It doesn't happen. So always appreciate where you are, what you're able to do. I mean, I remember stories of when Fidel Castro was in charge of Cuba when he was alive. At the height of his power, if you even looked in his direction, you could be killed. Same thing in a lot of other Middle Eastern countries. Things go wrong, you could be killed. I've always said, here we have Black Lives Matter and block up traffic, 3,000 people. Okay. Trust me, if we go back to Nazi Germany, if 3,000 Jews start walking down downtown Berlin yelling Jewish Lives Matter, it won't take long to handle the problem at all. Traffic will be cleared in a matter of an hour. It's just remember where you are, appreciate what you have, and if there's a police officer wants your license and registration, shut up, take out your wallet. What else is going on in the world? Look at that. Time is going by. Look at that. What else is going on here? Let's see. I was looking at a story last week, getting away from, let's get a little more domestic. A teacher, a high school coach, in Georgia was suspended after restraining a student who had a loaded gun. This is originally on Fox News, but it did appear in other spots. I just hit this first. It says a Georgia high school coach was suspended after he defended himself and restrained a student who was in possession of a loaded weapon in school. Because says I don't feel like I did anything wrong. His name is Kenneth Miller. That was according to News 19. He said I only adhered to what Fulton County School Board says you're allowed to do. So the principal called him. What's it? Miller said that on August 20th, the school's principal called him to her office about reports of about students on campus with guns. I'm sorry, I'm tripping over my own tongue. It says during the process, we located guns. We saved lives. One student had it in the bag in the office, and says he confronted one female student while in the presence of police officers. Miller and the officers were unaware that the student, who eyewitnesses described as belligerent and aggressive, had a gun at the time of the confrontation. Says the situation escalated when the student hit Miller with a stapler, and then Miller grabbed the girl and restrained her until the officer stepped in and took her into custody. She had a gun. So the teacher was initially fired. The school district reversed the decision. I'm not quite sure what he was suspended about. The kid picked up a stapler. Desk staplers are pretty heavy. I have a little bit older desk stapler. You see that thing? Those old metal things got that big. I could really hurt somebody with this. Yeah, staplers are pretty good. Yeah, they're good weapons. So anyway, he stopped the kid. Cops got the kid. That was it. Student at school. It's not even a little kid. I mean, big as an adult, have a gun. So I don't know why this guy was suspended in the first place. Personally, I think they should pin a medal on him, give him a raise, and a day off. Good vacation. Personally, he goes on the list of heroes for the week. Well, nothing happens to anybody anyway. Of course, on March 10th, I'm reading a story about a career criminal who was indicted on murder and freed without bail by a New York City judge. And the story says a career criminal indicted in February on a murder charge for allegedly beating to death a 67-year-old man was freed without bail by a Manhattan judge on Thursday, last week. Eugene Clark was on parole when he was initially charged by cops with assault for the September 20th, 2020, pummeling of Ramon Luna, who was 67, who was knocked into a coma before dying. Clark allegedly socked Luna in the head, causing the victim to fall, lose consciousness. You got the idea. The judge let him go with a trial date. Somehow I get the idea he won't be back. So, yeah, he was indicted on second-degree murder, assault, 2 counts of robbery, and grand larceny. But he got no bail. They let him out. So when I see people robbing stuff from stores and getting away with little things, things by comparison that are little, why am I not surprised? This is what goes on now. You can do what you want. So yeah, this brilliant move was decided upon by Judge April Neubauer, released on his own recognizance. He will be screened for electronic monitoring and is due back in court on June 12th. Somehow, maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't know if this guy is going to come back to court on June 12th. No bail. There you go. Let's shift some gears, shall we? If you're in the United States, I got this story a couple of days ago on the NBC's Money Report. The United States is clearing its way for truly driverless vehicles without steering wheels. This looks like either a big van or a small bus. Looks like a small bus. Newer in design, rounded front. Looks like it's made cheaply, but yeah, it'll be totally automated, totally by computer control. No pedals, no steering wheel, no nothing. And I don't know. I don't know. Look, actually, it looks like it holds 4 people as passengers. Something about that I'm not crazy about, only because the machine can't think. I know it has high technology, it'll have good censoring systems. It should be able to be programmed to be accountable, to account for every scenario. But sometimes you just don't know when there's going to be an accident or when something's going to happen, some other car approaching that maybe a human driver may think to do something else, turn the wheel, hit the brake real fast, maybe speed up. I don't know. You never know if a kid's going to come creeping out with an automated car. Know what to look for if a ball comes bouncing into the street, rolling into the street. One of the first rules I ever learned about driving is if you see a ball rolling in the street, stop the car. Because where there's a ball, there's a kid. So I don't know. It doesn't go that far into the programming of it, but that is what's coming. There will go the end of cab driving, bus driving, a lot of jobs gone if this thing takes off. But well, that we shall see. Right? Then again, nothing surprises me because if you live in New York City, there's all kinds of crazy stories. I need a drink of water. Cheers. Could be vodka. That's one. So I'm reading this story that says 1 in 5 people are considering OnlyFans to afford living in New York City as rents skyrocket. OnlyFans, the subscription based fan site for half-fast sex sites, stripping, whatever. You're paying somebody whatever to watch them every month. Whatever they're going to do, they're going to do whatever they can get away with, and whatever they want to get away with. Picture like an old style peep show. You just keep paying to watch the act. And it says here a new survey by Cinch Home Services. Yeah, 1 in 5 would start a raunchy OnlyFans account in order to make enough money to be able to live in New York City. It says they also found that people would live off cheap food, only go out once a week, sleep on air mattresses just to live where they want. So they'll pay the rent to have the address, but not have a proper bed, eat cheap food just to say they have the address. That's not an uncommon thing. It's been going on that way for a long time. But yeah, OnlyFans is one of the dancers said, one of the performers said, paid their rent for the month in New York City. And yes, you could make a fortune on that site. Remember, you've set up a room, your bedroom, your den. Maybe you have an extra room you set up just the way you want. And, especially women will do what they want to do, especially attractive women will do what they want to do. And people will pay to watch them. Not just men, women pay too. And they will pay to watch them. And certainly it's become a home for a lot of adult performers, a lot of dancers, strippers. COVID was in effect for a couple of years, and this site, OnlyFans, was getting into business a few years ago. COVID allowed for it to take off because internet business, especially internet adult business, took off. But yeah, one person, what was it? One person said to live here, she had to work about 10 hours a day, 7 days a week. Yeah, that's if they wanted to live in New York. Well, they're taking another route to doing it. What can you say, right? So people will do what they got to do. All right, OnlyFans. Find your favorite and pay whatever the rate is. A couple of rest in pieces, I guess. We all know that actor William Hurt died the other day. Yes, 2 days ago. Good act, very good actor. Been around a long time. Well, sorry to see him go. Well, March 8th, I got this story. Charles Entenmann died. He helped. He helped create the franchise. You've seen them, the Entenmann cakes and cookies in your grocery stores. Growing up, I didn't know anybody who eat Entenmann product. My favorites were the coffee cake, because I love cake. Coffee cake was really good. I just love their donuts and their chocolate chip cookies. I go for more cakey stuff, but they had the apple pie, the cheesecakes, the, the cinnamon buns, um, and whatever else you can imagine in that collection. Entenmann's was always a good product. It really was. And it wasn't all that expensive either. I haven't bought it in years, so I really wouldn't know. But every now and again, well, I can't really have it, diabetic at all. So I mean, I do cheat, and I pick and choose where I cheat. Uh, so I won't be having Entenmann's. But every now and again, I see a box somewhere, and I wouldn't mind ripping into it, and just grabbing whatever I can get. Yeah. And I can go through a box, like a lot of people go through a box of their chocolate chip cookies in a matter of minutes. Jade, did you like Entenmann's product? You ever have it? You ever try it? Jade never tried Entenmann's. I know what I'm sending you for Christmas. I know what I'm sending you. Donuts, cakes, cookies from Entenmann's. So, yeah. Well, he was 92. He lived a good life. So I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, yeah. There is one more rest in peace I want to get to, but there is one more. Not that you're going to know who he is, but I do want to mention it because it deserves mentioning. I want to get the name right. This came over today's Associated Press a few hours ago. It says Auschwitz survivor Leon Schwartzbaum dies at 101 in Germany. You may not know who he is, but Leon Schwartzbaum was a survivor of the Nazi death camp after his family was wiped out. And he survived, so much so that he lived to 101. He was a subject of a documentary called The Last of the Jolly Boys that was filmed in 2018 by the director Hans Erik Veit. It was shot in original locations, which meant he had to go to the towns and to the camp and all that. And it's a story that he was born as to a Polish Jewish family in Hamburg, and so on and so on. But I like when I hear these things, I like to mention, because you really want to truly defeat something like that, something like a Nazi thing, which I know is a while ago. And of course, within 10 years, I don't think there'll be any more survivors. But living to 101 is a good way to do it. That's a good way to do it. So yeah, so rest in peace to Mr. Schwartzbaum. You've heard me talk about shrinkflation many, many times. You know what shrinkflation is, don't you? I've talked about that. It's like when you're just getting less. You're paying the same, but you're getting less. Or maybe a little more if they want to get away with it. You're definitely getting less. One of the classic examples is the jar of peanut butter. You buy a jar of peanut butter, used to have that flat bottom like you see here in this water bottle. Right? But then it became a little bit concave, a little bit indented in the bottom of the jar, about that much in, which means you're getting less. You're paying the same, but you're getting less. You ever look at that bar of soap? Well, when you go buy a bar of Ivory or Dial or any other thing you'll see in the grocery store, look at it carefully when you open it up. It's no longer a flat bar. It has that little curve in it. You're getting less. Well, now it's coming down to toilet paper. Look at that. That thing we battled for just a year and a half ago. We're now, look, I'm even using my fake radio voice for this one because we're battling for toilet paper. Yeah, slim down, fewer cookies in the bag, less conditioner in the squeeze tubes. That's right. The changes are subtle and It might evade less discerning shoppers, not me. But retail industry experts say we could see more consumer products start shrinking in size or quantity. I'm going with quality also. Yeah. So with the amount of, I want to get the amount that they're shrinking. Okay, I move this around. Oh, even M&M's packages have gone down to 9.75 ounces from the 11.3 ounces per package a while ago. Gatorade bottles holds less, 28 fluid ounces down from 32 ounces, one after another. Even my Diet Snapple Peach 32-ounce jar is gone. They're probably going to shrink that down to about 24. Yeah, everything. Toilet paper, shrinking. Says the mega rolls. Which brand are they using here? Procter and Gamble, Charmin, Ultra Soft. There's 18 count mega package, 18 rolls, right? Contains 244 two-ply sheets, down from the previous 264 sheets per roll. And that's super mega rolls, super mega. What happened to Ultra? They now display 366 sheets, down from 396 sheets per roll. So pretty much in an 18 count package, you're losing about a roll and a half for the same money. You're getting less. They want you to buy more. That's just what it is. So best I could say is, I wash your hair less shampoo. As for toilet paper, well, do the best you can with that. Peanut butter, understanding you get one less sandwich out of that jar. Keep on scraping. Then again, scraping the empty jar is always a little bit of fun. Sort of like slurping the bottom of the milkshake glass. And yeah, shrinkflation. That's why I'm trying to lose weight. I'm suffering from shrinkflation. I want you to get less of me, love. Certainly more of me didn't work, so we're going to go with less of me. So that's what's happening. Everything is getting less and less and less. I don't know what they're going to do with a dozen eggs. There's only so many places you can go with a dozen. But yeah, that is what's going on. Everything is less. The quality of everything is lesser. Things you have to replace very fast. Buy the same things now that you bought 3 years ago, and you'll see, well, depending on what it is, that the quality of what you're holding in your hands has changed. It's the casings are usually cheaper. Most things are getting cheaper. And I really do want to know what they're going to do with my 32-ounce Snapples, because I haven't seen that flavor in a while. They're going to shrink that flavor down. I'll have to go chain myself to the Snapple factory. Well, now, that is interesting, isn't it? I'll come back to that when I think of a few more examples. So now, but as we all know, Tom Brady's, let's get into sports for a while, because weather, just look out the window. Well, you know, Tom Brady's coming back. He made his announcement last night. So I guess that retirement was pretty quick. Okay. Tom Brady's coming back. He's still the best quarterback there ever was. His stats last year were better than guys who were half his age. And yes, Tom Brady will be welcomed back to Tampa Bay. He wants to go out with the Super Bowl. I understand. What I do feel bad for is the guy who bought Tom Brady's final touchdown ball from last season for $518,000 at auction prior to the return from retirement. That's what the headline says. Yes, there you go. This is yesterday's story. $518,000 that was auctioned off at Leland's Auctions. And then a couple of hours later, he ended his retirement. Well, I'm not sure what the policy is on that one, but I'm sure there's whoever bought this is getting their money back. Otherwise, someone just got royally screwed. You know, usually, I mean, it's almost like a cliche in the movie. We've seen this a lot of times. Someone auctions off a painting, someone bids on the artwork, and the second the gavel hits, we have an announcement. The artist has just died. Now the the value has skyrocketed, it's gone straight up through the roof. In this case, the artist is coming back from retirement, so it's not exactly, unless of course Tom Brady comes back and never throws another touchdown pass. So if you bought this thing, speculate to accumulate, but I have a feeling you're looking for your money back. Uh, that's it. The second he throws a touchdown, that ball becomes worthless. Gotta love this stuff. Gotta love it. What else? What else? What else? Oh, what's going on in local baseball? Well, spring training starting, the season will be going. Our own Met pitcher, Jacob deGrom, says this is his last year with the New York Mets. He's not going, he's going to back out of his contract after the season. I'm not quite sure what his ultimate plan is, but yeah. He is some pitcher, but they don't back him up. The team does not back him up. He'll make a fortune of money, but I don't know that he can ever win a World Series with the Mets because they just don't back him up. It's the way it is. That's in sports. What else is going on? Uber has announced that they're going to be installing a fuel surcharge. So keep that in mind when you start calling for Uber. I'm not sure exactly when it is. Yeah. And there's a woman who, what's in this story over here? Well, I've talked about this type of thing before, the open romances. And the headline is from the Sun, of course. I started a throuple, THRUPLE. Instead of a couple, we have a throuple, 3, with my man. And it ended in disaster after I saw them getting steamy. After being with her boyfriend for 3 years, influencer and dancer Taylor Cezanne decided it was time to shake things up in the bedroom. So the saucy plan didn't work out for the 26-year-old who found herself single at the end of it all because Cezanne and her boyfriend met the new girl through work. They just wanted to have some fun. Well, I say, I didn't want to have some fun, but she was a virgin, so I didn't want to pressure her at all. Who even thinks of this stuff? This is a real story. But anyway, it says, however, that what was meant to spice up their sex life resulted in her being shoved out of the throuple. So I guess the boyfriend hooked up with the other girl, and that was the end of it. Well, okay, she says at the time she was not polyamorous, but she said the couple were both attracted to the new girl and they wanted to make it work. Well, I've talked about this on and off, who knows how many decades. You want to have an open marriage? It all works very well. Open relationship works very well until you open it up. It's just the way it goes. You're not bringing somebody into your house, into your bed, and sitting them in a corner somewhere until you want to break them out for sex, then putting them back in the corner. So I guess the husband and the new girl hit it off, and the wife figured it out. Next thing is she left both. So now they're a couple. She's a single. And I'm looking at her. She won't have a problem meeting somebody else after she goes to her social media rants and getting support over all this. But yeah, that's it. Yeah. She says she struggled to make a bond, but he didn't. Oh, well. That's it. So that's what happened. That didn't work. The only one who's going to make more money and have things work is Tom Brady. And hopefully the guy who took the ball gets his money back. Gotta love this stuff. But then again, here at 5:46 coming up, I keep telling time more for myself than for your benefit. Well, that's a wide range of thoughts today. It really is. A country that's threatened everybody with who knows what. If they got involved, want somebody to get involved on their behalf, who's already said no to them on one subject. A guy who's bigger than 2 of them each, heading himself to a McDonald's door because he wants to be able to get his Big Macs. Trust me, this is not a quarter pounder guy. This is a Big Mac guy. I mean, when I go to McDonald's, I could do some damage. I haven't had McDonald's now in about 2 years. Don't miss it. It's just a wide range of stuff that goes on. We have a killer that gets out with no bail. This is just a freaky, freaky world out there. I got to tell you, I really don't. I'm telling you, my heroes of the week are the band that's playing Don't Worry, Be Happy. If there's anything you'd like to talk about, write to me at upfrontfrank@gmail.com. Feel free. You can always leave us a message on the Scott and Skies Crescent Radio on my up front page and tell us what you think about any of the stories we're talking about. Because I don't expect everybody to agree with everything I say. I just say it. Oh, I don't know if I mentioned it last week. Well, the band's my favorite, but the second favorite was, remember, this story was actually from, I forgot to mention, from, I put it up on my Facebook page on March 8th. So it really came out on, 6 days before. Just remember that Russian ship that fired on the beginning of this war, they fired on the island where the soldiers told them to go fuck themselves. Well, that ship was destroyed. However it happened, that ship was sunk. So that's another piece of interesting news. But be careful with toilet paper. And of course, as seeing the warnings of be careful of cyber attacks, make sure your computers and your phones are all secure. Change your passwords frequently if you hear of anybody having an odd problem outside of the normal security problems. Be careful with your internet information. Personally, my internet life is very simple. If anybody wants what I got out there, they can have it. But if you're one who keeps everything on clouds, on internets, on this, on that, on your phone, make your passwords tougher. Do whatever you can. Make it a little bit tough. Make it a little bit tougher. Clean your computer out. Clean everything out. Just give yourself every shot to be cyber safe, so to say. And that's, I guess, it's coming up pretty much on the show, because how much of this stuff can you really talk about? Anyway, as you know, we're broadcasting live on YouTube, as you can see. We would appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button and check us all out. As you can see, our very own Jade Zabrik is experimenting, putting up some of her loops of her music with all her backgrounds that she's using. So give her a little support, see what she's doing. Give her a like button. Give us a little, like I say, a little subscribe. Keep track of us. And you never know, the Poets may once again be televised. Mia may bring us back into her world with Mia's world. You never know what's going to happen with that station, because we're always looking for a new face. And if you would like to give this a try yourself, please do. Write to us at skiescrescentradio@gmail.com. Somebody will get to you pretty quick, and you can discuss what you'd like to do and what's required on both ends. And that is what's going on. So I think I'll let you go. I will see everybody next week. We'll see what new and inventive kinds of craziness I can find, because I'm not talking about bombs. I'm talking about fat guys chaining themselves to doors for Big Macs and quarter pounders and fries. That takes precedence. And don't go buying any stuff on eBay of McDonald's products. You never know, it may be a knockoff. Those could be fake ketchup packets. All right. I'll see everybody next week. All right. Enjoy the evening. It's still light out. Go outside. Get some air. It's nice.